Welcome to Hot Button Hashtags. My name is Matt. A few days ago, I got a phone call that one of my absolute favorite people in the entire world, my grandma, who we called Mama, passed away. And that wasn't exactly a bad thing. She had been suffering from Alzheimer's for years. It had turned her into somebody we didn't recognize. She was in a great deal of pain. She'd stopped eating. She was angry. It was very hard to watch. So the news of her death came as relief. And I was given quite possibly one of the greatest honors of my life when my mother asked me to give Mama's eulogy at her funeral, which I got to do this morning. So here it is.
Thanks for coming, you guys. When I was a young boy, I imagined Kentucky as nothing but coal mines, witches' huts, and moonshine stills. And that's her fault. She had a very selective repertoire of stories, beliefs, and memories. And her version of Kentucky was not the version advertised by the Kentucky Tourism Board. They would have wanted me to hear about the beautiful rivers and the mountains and the forests. Those are things that I could have seen anywhere. But Mama, what we called her, she had an entirely different Kentucky experience. She knew that people didn't really care about the mountains or the trees. And when she talked about growing up in Kentucky, she skipped over the stuff that would have bored her audience, even though the Kentucky Board of Tourism would not have approved. I really love that approach to storytelling. The version of Annalee that I'm going to share with you is not the Kentucky Board of Tourism approved Annalee. It's the Annalee, the Mama that I experienced. I first met Mama 38 years ago in the winter of 1978, when I was born. I'm not entirely sure how the encounter went, but I'm fairly certain that at some point she told me that I was her favorite grandchild. The other two, she told me, had grown out of the cute stage, a mistake I've been careful not to replicate, as you can see. As my childhood progressed and I grew older and cuter, Mama would share stories of her own childhood, of the witches living on Black Mountain, of her brothers drinking themselves blind on their own moonshine up in the wooded hills near her home. Definitely not the kind of stories that grandmothers typically share with their grandchildren, but she had my attention and she knew it. Mama's life was not a fairy tale, but it wasn't a horror story either. It was more like a romantic comedy, where you weren't sure if the two leading characters are actually going to end up together, but that's okay because maybe they're better off alone. She worked, she had jobs, she had a husband, Claude, and a daughter, Elena. I'm not going to say much about any of that stuff, but not because they don't matter. The events of my grandmother's life mattered deeply. They all worked together like dominoes to create a chain reaction that led us all to this room at this moment. The reason I'm skipping all of that is because the dead belong to the living, and it's up to each and every one of us to look at Mama's life and to salvage the things we value the most. We used to hide things from Mama, not like her glasses and her teeth, but that would have been a good time. We lied to protect her feelings. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because that's what you do for your people. But I don't want to remember Mama as a fragile little bird who would fall to pieces every time she got some bad news. The memories I'm choosing to salvage are the ones most precious to me. Mama on Christmas Eve, trying desperately to get her son-in-law's attention because she needed a refill on her Kula. And no matter how many times we explained that it's called Kahlua, she just couldn't make it happen. So she drank Kula. Kula Mama was my favorite. You never knew what you'd get from Kula Mama. But whatever else it was honest. She loved to laugh. Her eyes would crinkle up and her mouth would split open into the biggest smile you ever saw. And nobody made her laugh more than Glenn, her son-in-law. I think she saw in Glenn all of the things that she missed about my grandpa. And with Glenn, she got all the good times and none of the heartache. And there was heartache. One of the last times I saw her, when her Alzheimer's had dug in and was yanking up old memories, she talked about some of that heartache. And I think that might have been the cruelest thing that disease did to her, was to bring up the old hurt and force her to relive it over and over. So none of that. That's the stuff I want to forget. I want to remember the funny little things, her cats, her crocheting, Hallmark ornaments on Christmas, her banana pudding, her amazing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that you couldn't even pick up because they were so loaded with jelly. But she also used to feed me Spam and Velveeta sandwiches with Miracle Whip. So I'm going to add that to the list of things I want to forget. She was not a complicated lady. All of her interests were highly accessible. The Cubs, the Pacers, fishing, beer. I remember her once getting very excited about a Bonanza marathon on TV. So she was basically just a normal guy. Even Alzheimer's couldn't completely zap her ornery attitude. The last time I saw her, she didn't know who I was. She thought I was her nephew Jerry. She kept giving me strange looks and demanding to know when I'd gotten so fat. She told me that the next time she saw me, she was going to dope me up and shave off my beard. So Jerry, if she attacked you during any of your visits, I apologize. It's probably my fault. So when you remember Mama, when you remember Annalie, don't feel like you have to remember every event of her life. Remember who she was to you. Remember the things about her that made you laugh. Remember her generosity and her kindness. And if you're ever enjoying a beer during a Cubs game, think of her. In closing, I would like to share something that Mama taught me several years ago for reasons I can only imagine. But keep in mind, this was Kula Mama. She taught me this. It was a tongue twister, she said, that her brothers used to make her say in the hope that she would get herself in trouble. So naturally, she decided I need to know it. I have absolutely no idea what it means, but this is how it went. Old Granny Grunt had a cuzzy could funt, not a cuzzy could funt, but a hunt funt cuzzy. Sorry.